What if we told you there's a hidden landscape in the watch world just waiting to be explored? After years in the game, we're practically adventurers mapping uncharted territories in the watch market. So why not kick back, relax, and join us on this exciting journey? Remember the thrill of getting your first luxury watch? For us, it was a Rolex Submariner, love at first sight. Back then, thinking of a watch as an investment was as bizarre as ketchup on ice cream. Yet here we are, keeping pace as time and markets take us on unexpected twists and turns. Moving on to the meat of the matter, today's watch market is a whole new ballgame. The volatility is enough to make a stockbroker blush, and it seems everyone's trying to park their cash in something shiny on their wrist. We're all for turning a beautiful timepiece into a smart investment. After all, it's better than letting your money snooze in a bank account. But it's crucial to distinguish between making a savvy investment and just jumping on a bandwagon that might be heading off a cliff. You walk into an authorized dealer, eyeing that Patek Philippe you've been dreaming about, only to find out the price has shot up overnight because someone heard a rumor it might disappear. We've all been there, right? In the watch game, we've had our share of wins and some expensive lessons, each one a little more humbling than the last. But let's be real. What we're seeing now isn't investing, it's pure hype chasing. Just look at the Rolex Daytona Lemons edition. This isn't your run-of-the-mill Daytona. It's a white gold beauty that rocketed to over £250,000 after it got discontinued. Hold that thing and you can't help but think, am I holding a watch or the down payment on a 3-bedroom house? Hang tight. Why not subscribe to the opulent Oasis community? Stay in the loop with our top-notch watch content. Let's get back to our conversation. Maybe it's time to pump the brakes and take a hard look at what we're really doing here. Investing in watches isn't supposed to be a mad dash. It's more about savoring the craftsmanship, the stories behind each piece, and those subtle innovations that speak volumes to those who really listen. When we get hooked on a new watch, it's not just the glimmer or its scarcity that reels us in. It's the designs that defy trends and the mechanics that laugh in the face of time. Ultimately, the true art of watch collecting isn't about chasing the latest wave or snapping up every limited edition in sight. It's about cherishing those timeless elements that don't just survive the trends, but dance right through them. Things get really quirky when you see what makes wallets open these days. Why are folks tossing out serious cash? A dash of new color on a dial and the price doubles, a hint that it might be discontinued, and suddenly it's tripled. It's like we're all losing track of what really pumps up a watch's value. Let's take a trip down memory lane. Once we stumbled upon a vintage Omega Speedmaster. Sure, it had its share of battle scars, but it was a legend in its own right. We passed because it wasn't the current craze. Guess what? Its value has now skyrocketed, fueled not by hype, but by a deep appreciation for its storied past. That's our kind of investment, skipping the bandwagon and betting on what's genuinely golden. Let's wade into the deep end with pre-owned Rolexes, where things get a tad more peculiar. Imagine you're set on a shiny new Rolex Daytona, tagged at about $14,800, but hold your wallet tight. A pre-owned one might ding you for over $38,000. That's right. Paying more for a watch that's been around the block than one that's fresh off the assembly line. Sounds nutty, but bear with me. There's a rhyme to this reason. Scarcity plays a huge part. Rolex isn't just teasing us with scarcity, they genuinely can't crank them out fast enough. Crafting these icons takes a year, and the waiting lists are so long, we've half joked that our grandkids might inherit our spot in line. This rarity has turned the second-hand market into something of a collector's paradise. According to the Boston Consulting Group, nearly a third of aficionados cough up more than retail for their latest pre-owned Rolex because 40% of them would rather not grow old waiting on that infamous list. But let's not forget, availability is just part of the allure. There's an undeniable magic to a pre-owned watch. It's not merely a timepiece, it's a history book on your wrist. We've got a vintage Datejust that belonged to our dad. Every nick and scratch on it is like a footnote in an epic tale. You can't pluck that kind of storied charm off a store shelf. Plus, there's real panache in rocking a Rolex from the days of yore. It's like sporting a piece of history with a dash of mystery. The first time we strapped on our vintage 1675 GMT Master, it felt less like putting on a watch and more like gearing up for a time-traveling adventure, some chapters of which, we're pretty sure, were written by adventurers far braver than us. Rolex certainly didn't miss the memo on the hype around pre-owned gems. They rolled out their certified pre-owned program in late 2022, which was a slick move. Now you can snag a pre-loved Rolex with all the trimmings of trust, straight from the folks who know them best. They've smartly clawed back into a market that was almost slipping from their grasp. But let's toss in a reality check. The pre-owned market is like a roller coaster, exciting, but with its fair share of dips. Lately, there's been a bit of a frost with more watches out there than usual. It's a classic case of market gravity. What goes up often cools down. That's why we always encourage picking a watch that speaks to your soul, not just one that'll fatten your wallet. We've seen enthusiasts get caught up in the whirlwind and end up with buyer's remorse when the hype evaporates. Meanwhile, there are the understated types like the Rolex Explorer. It's never been the star of the show, but its low-key elegance has cultivated a steady fan base. We snagged one years ago because it just clicked with us, and now it's not just a timepiece in our collection. It's a treasure that keeps on giving, both in value and nostalgia. This steers us toward a key insight about watch investing. It's not all about jumping on the latest hype or taking every word from self-proclaimed gurus on social media as gospel. It's about really getting into the gears of the game, understanding the mechanics, diving into the stories behind each brand, and riding the sometimes unpredictable market waves. We spend our weeks buried in vintage catalogs, swapping stories with watchmakers, and yes, occasionally tripping over our own watch straps. But here's the kicker. Every stumble teaches us something. That Omega Speedmaster we passed on. It was less of a missed opportunity and more of a nudge to trust our gut over the market's buzz. As we start to wind down this chat, let's highlight something crucial. Mastering the watch market is less about speed and more about stamina, rich knowledge, and a real passion for the TikTok of horology. Dodge the hype train that promises quick profits and jaw-dropping valuations. Instead, focus on crafting a collection that brings you joy, tells your story, and, with a bit of luck, ticks up in value as time goes by. Remember, a watch is far more than an investment. It's a piece of art, a marvel of engineering, and often a landmark in your personal history. Our collection isn't just an array of assets. It's the timeline of our lives, dotted with every significant moment, achievement, and memory worth keeping. What's on the horizon for the watch market? Honestly, predicting that is like trying to read the time on a sundial at midnight. Tricky, but exciting. We might see some price tags deflate like a punctured balloon, or perhaps unearth the next vintage darling that everyone's been overlooking. Either way, we'll be here, timepieces at the ready, to tackle these twists and turns together. Before we close this chapter, we're keen to hear your take. What's your vibe on the current state of watch investing? Any victories that caught you off guard or lessons learned from those less-than-perfect picks? Pop your stories in the comments. Each tale you share sharpens our collective savvy in this intriguing world of horology. And hey, don't forget to like and subscribe to Opulent Oasis for more explorations into the luxe life of watches. Smash that notification bell. You won't want to miss our next video where we'll dive into your comments and peel back even more layers of the watch world. Thanks for joining us on this TikTok journey. Until next time, this is Opulent Oasis, reminding you to invest wisely, collect with zeal, and always appreciate the little mechanics that make big statements on your wrist. Stay curious, keep those gears greased, and let's eagerly await the tales our watches will spin next.